presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to today. For those who don't already know, and I bet you there's very few, the guest, the main liner, I guess you call, the main event of this show is the spirit guide Erik, who is my son who died a few years ago. And now he's trying to help us all navigate through the human experience using his blog and this radio show. So hopefully you guys will get little tidbits of wisdom and love from him. We're going to talk about a subject first, and then he'll accept questions from listeners. And that subject is laziness, procrastination. We all suffer from that every once in a while, and Erik will share some tips. But we also have, again, and I'm so honored to have him, motivational speaker and pro wrestler Jamin Olivencia, who is going to discuss this from his viewpoint. After all, we lazy slobs need motivation, right, Jamin?
Oh, absolutely. How you doing, Elisa?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm happy to be alive. I'm here having another great moment with you guys, and just really be able to have the opportunity to have an experience where we can heal ourselves and really raise our energy levels, raise our vibrations, put ourselves in a different state of consciousness, and that's thanks to Kim and Erik as well. How are you guys doing?
What's up, guys? Thanks so much for having me once again. Awesome to be here as always, and thank you guys so much for listening each and every week as we explore different topics and try to bring as much guidance as much guidance as we can to you guys to help you through life, to help you understand different aspects of yourself and why you go through it and how to deal with it when you're going through it. And tonight is no different. You guys know Erik. He's brutally honest, and he's going to talk to you guys about laziness and procrastination, especially procrastination. That's something that he is fired up to talk about, but I'm excited to hear you, Jamin, and tell us about, some of your experience with, through pro wrestling and how you've seen different people deal with laziness and procrastination, how you've seen it affect people, and kind of how you help change that within people. I know you go all over the U.S. and talk to people, to kiddos, actually in different school districts and help motivate them. So I think we have a real keynote speaker here, you guys, tonight to help us deal with it.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah,
great place to start.
Absolutely.
Take it here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time. And, I think it's real simple. And for me, once again, it goes back to, the simple, those simple emotions, however you want to look at them, but it goes into love and fear. So I think anytime I was being lazy or I was procrastinating something that I know I should have been doing, it was clearly out of fear for me. I had fear that I wasn't maybe able to do something or I didn't believe in myself. I mean, some people decide laziness because they know maybe something coming up may be hard or they don't want to put in the work. They tell themselves that they can't do it. The world is out to get me. They end up what ends up happening is they end up actually achieving those results. So they get what they actually asked for. And so, therefore, they prove themselves right. So to me, it's really putting yourself in a state of acceptance to what is. Because laziness is nothing but trying to put off something. Maybe there's an aspect about yourself you're trying to hide from. These things you can find within yourself if you take deep breaths, if you actually take the time to ask yourself those bigger questions. So for me, it's like asking someone, hey, what's your vision? They say, oh, I don't know what my vision is. Okay, well, why are you here on Earth? Why are you living? Oh, well, shit, I don't know. That's a big question. Yeah, I know it's a big question, but why don't you answer it? And therefore, they have to answer it. They have to intrinsically go inside, get themselves motivated to figure out that answer. So for me, when I'm helping people, it's really about asking them a lot of questions instead of talking at them. And when you ask the question, they have no other choice but to respond. See, our now moments, the experience right now that all of us are doing, is the most powerful point in our life. This is the most powerful moment right now. So to have this conversation about laziness, procrastination, how can we get ourselves out of that, really goes back to the idea for me about following your passion. And, you know, at the same time, procrastination is a very valuable thing to recognize inside of yourself, because then you can see you have armor on. Then you have the ability to have and work for something that you don't want to be lazy about. And I think there's power in that.
Oh,
Absolutely.
well said. Erik, do you want to chime in on that?
Well, he's definitely chiming in. he's kind of like, it's funny because he's talking to Jamin like he's just having a normal conversation with him, like he's just throwing thoughts back and forth, talking to you, talking back to you, and he's talking like, again, of course, as he always does from the spiritual perspective of things. Jamin brings a very grounding physical perspective, and Erik is talking about. He says, "Mom, it's simple," and he says it's fucked up how simple it is. He says, laziness and procrastination is basically being unconscious, like not being conscious, not being present. Anytime you procrastinate, you're avoiding the now moment, which is the truth, or which is all you have that is truth. Because he says basically you can't exist anywhere else but the now moment. So you're always here. Here is all you're ever going to have. But when you try to escape here through your subconscious or being unconscious with the present self, that's when you see laziness and procrastination manifest. He says sometimes it may not be intentional. He said laziness usually is intentional, but procrastination may not be. He's just kind of laughing at himself, though, at his comments. But he says when people intentionally procrastinate something and put it off, they not only are living unconsciously, or like he says, because you have to look at it and how it's you take yourself through trips, Mom. He says you take yourself through these trips where, again, you believe that, well, when I get this done later, it'll be better, but I don't feel like doing it right now, so I'm going to put it off. But being saved by later or feeling better later when you do it, that's an illusion too, because it's associated with somewhere else than now. He's so cracking himself up over this. He says you can't be anywhere else but now.
Why?
So why the hell do you put shit off? He says because it's just going to keep knocking at your door. It's like a boomerang. It's just going to keep coming back and knocking at your door until you assert it. It's just like what we always say, Mom. He says what you resist, you become until you acknowledge it. You don't have to resist it, and you don't have to become it. You don't have to accept it, align with it, but acknowledge it. And
well, Jamie, are there other reasons why people are procrastinate other than not really knowing their passion?
Well, they're in their head. They're not like Erik said, which everything he said was just like, I love it, because what he's discussing is that being present, being consciously aware is all about how consciously we are right now aware. Like, for example, if I'm talking and our listeners are listening, and let's just say one of the listeners decides to float off into space and start thinking about the bills they got to pay or whatever, they may be causing a procrastination in something in the now moment, whatever that may be. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be something they have to be motivated for, but when you are dealing with what's in front of you all the time, then that is the ultimate truth, just like what Erik said. It's the ultimate truth. This moment right now is the ultimate truth. It cannot be not the ultimate truth. I don't know how else it cannot be, because we're experiencing this moment. So if this moment right now wasn't for our soul's evolution, then we simply wouldn't be experiencing it. So to me, it's really about finding yourself in this moment right now, not what you think you are. You know what I mean? Does that kind of make sense, or am I going a little
Yeah.
spacey here? Because
No, do you think most procrastinators hang out in the past more or the future more, or both?
Lisa, both, both, because they're trying to achieve something. Most of us as human beings are trying to achieve something. We all desire things. If we wouldn't be alive if we weren't here to desire something. I think where it gets tricky for most people is they really get caught up into that future tense part of themselves. So just to go on the topic of imagination real fast, imagination is a really beautiful thing, but it can also be a weapon. And the reason why I say it could be a weapon is because sometimes we use our imagination to think about those future things in that now moment. But let's just say I want $1 million, or I want a girlfriend, or I want the perfect relationship, or the perfect dad, the perfect mom, whatever it is someone desires. If you want that thing, sometimes you create this attachment towards it, and then you start obsessing over it. So you start thinking about it. So in that now moment, that's where that imagination is being lit. It's the only place where it can be lit. It's being lit in the now. Now, in reality, you may be at school when you're having that thought. You may be at work. You may be, doing all types. Be at the grocery store. Who knows? It doesn't matter. The fact is, when you are being in another place, when you're in another place physically, you are disaligned with really what's in front of you. So therefore, you have no way to ascend from there. And the reason why you may not be able to ascend from there, most people feel like they're quote-unquote stuck. What Kim was saying was interesting too, and Erik, what you resist keeps on going. What you resist persists, right? So the more you avoid something, it's going to come back around anyway, because consciousness, your soul, your heart, everything, that sees it all. That's on the mountaintop, and it's looking at everything. But the person that's in the physical form is the result of the consciousness. So what you're experiencing right now, is a result of what you think of yourself, what you think of life, how you define things. So it's really going back to the fundamental idea, and like what Erik said, it's very simple. It goes back to, it's so simple, it's stupid. It's just literally being present right now. When you're talking to somebody, some people these days, I notice it all the time. You talk to somebody, they don't even look you in the eyes. They might be texting and going, look down at the phone, look back up.
Or
they're not really fully.
Your face. Sometimes they just look at your face, but don't really make true soul-to-soul eye contact connection.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the most powerful moment. People don't realize if you just look at someone in the eyes, literally. I have some clients that are very introverted. I don't even like calling them clients. They're like friends because these are people I love. But the point is, when a lot of them say, I just don't know how to get motivated, I say, okay, we'll go out tomorrow and shake 5 people's hands who you don't know. And they're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do that. And we'll go ahead and try it. Just try it, because you'll find out that when you actually step into the water, it's not as deep as you assumed. So everything goes back to the imagination and what you're assuming. When you think about a past thing, where's it happening? Right now.
That's so true.
When you're thinking about a future thing, where's it happening? Right now.
That's so true. And Erik actually wants to build on that, Jamin, talking about how imagination can actually be your weapon, Mom. He says, and that's why people procrastinate, because they use their imagination to fuck up the situation. They think, oh, well, it's going to be miserable when I sit down and do my bills. Fuck that. I don't want to do it. I'll do it later. Or, oh, it's going to be miserable when I do, they use their imagination to create worst-case scenario, to create something difficult. Or even, he says, anticipation is usually going to be worse than reality. And when people use their imagination like that and create, like, predetermine the outcome, number one, you're predetermining the outcome. You're going to create it if you don't be careful. That's how it becomes. Your imagination can become a weapon. You begin to procrastinate, put something off, and in turn, you're stuck in it, in that situation, you're doing your shitty bills until you've actually done them and moved on. So it's kind of like, you're creating your own haunting, he says. The more you procrastinate something, the more you're haunted by it until you get it over with. So he's saying, like, fuck that, quit. But in saying that, though, he's taking responsibility. He says, I used to do this a lot. He's like, I used to procrastinate.
Yes, yes.
But he says, don't use your imagination as a weapon against yourself. And in turn, that leads to how or why people procrastinate. Let the imagination be the source of inspiration, he says, not procrastination. He's like, do you like how I'm rhyming right now?
Yeah. I'm liking it. Now, there's some people who are not big doers. Some people are meant to come to Earth to just observe and be. Yeah. And that kind of looks lazy, but is it? Can either of you guys speak to that?
He says it's not laziness, Mom. That's pure consciousness. When they especially he says when they're content with just being and not having to do, when there's contentment in that, he says, now granted this is a whole different topic, he says, from being physical, having responsibilities and taking care of them. He says when you procrastinate your responsibilities as a human and you're blatantly lazy about it, that's a whole other issue. You're living in a lie, in an illusion, basically. You're procrastinating something, and in turn you're stuck in the illusion that it's gone or it's not here right now because you've put it off. But essentially it's going to keep coming back at you like a boomerang until you take care of it. So it's not gone. So don't procrastinate, he said. But when people are
Jamie, are there any practical tips that you can give our audience to
this
giving
is
the hump of procrastination?
I would challenge you. Some people are not big on meditation. Like some people don't like to sit down and get still, take the deep breaths. Some just don't like to do it because their mind is always constantly running. They're always like, I can't shut off my mind. I don't know how to do it. And I say, okay, well then, if you can't shut off your mind, if you can't shut off your imagination, then let's play with the imagination. So how do we do that? So what I do with my clients or my friends, I have them do a 10-minute type of meditation with imagination. And what I mean by that is for 1 minute, I will have them pick one topic. For example, I will say, what makes you feel really excited? What excites you? And they could say it's anything. Money, my parents, my family, my dog. Okay, great. Now I want you for 1 minute to close your eyes and just imagine you being with that animal or with that person or the thing that makes you happy. They do that. Great. 1 minute's up. Now another minute's on, and I say, okay, now switch to something else that you care for or something you like. I'll switch the question, make them think again. I'll be doing it with them. But when the next minute comes up, they have to do it again. Now, after 10 minutes, what happens is your focus will be so in tune, you will actually vibrate to a higher level completely. You will be so present that you can't go backwards. Yeah, I want to make an app out of it, actually. I'm working on it right now. I want to make an app for people so that they can download it, and then it could be able to alert them when that minute is up, and then maybe a voice or something tells them the next thing or prompts them or, however they adjust their settings. I'm still toying with the idea. But the point is, when you do something like this, like for me, I was a kid who grew up in special education classes. I got bullied. I thought I was stupid, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I wanted to go to the WWE. I wanted to be a big star, yada, yada, yada. But I imagined it a lot, all the time. In fact, I did it so much that I was failing in school. However, because my passion that I had for it and a genuine love for it, life gave me the circumstances to support those ideas. And so therefore, when we imagine things or we think about things that make us feel less than or inferior, then you still get those results. Like, people can always prove themselves right. That's why they tell you their stories. They say, hey, this happened to me because I did this and that. And that's true, yes. Everything is a result of your own consciousness. So I would really recommend people try that. Just give it a shot. Do it for 5 minutes. If 10 minutes is too long, if 5 minutes is too long, do it for 2 minutes. Try 2 different subjects. See how you feel. But I recommend you do it a little bit longer because you'll really raise your vibration and give yourself something. It's a nice little gift to yourself. It's like a shot of caffeine. That's the way I look at it.
So you can do this right before you have to pay bills, huh? And then your vibration will be high, and you're like, give me them bills. I'm going to get after them.
Well,
is that it?
Yeah, well, you can look at it that way, sure. The way I look at it is understanding fundamental values, like certain fundamental rules. Like, I have fundamental rules. Now, I'm not saying this is the truth, but it's my truth. And what happens sometimes is we tend to not accept what is in front of us, even if we're in the position. So it goes down to that fundamental thing of, like, accepting the moment, even if it sucks. You know, the truth is, in my opinion, whatever you're experiencing is for your soul's evolution. Look at what Erik has done. Look at what you guys have done right now. Look at the show you guys have. Look at everything you guys are doing. Look at how you're helping people. Now, of course, the circumstances on the physical level are gut-wrenching, especially for you, Elisa, of course. But however, look at the beautiful work you guys are doing. Look at how you guys are still working together. Look at how Erik's soul came to Earth to do these things in order to help your soul's growth and your family's growth and his own growth. That's a really beautiful thing when you look at it from a bigger perspective. And of course, I don't want to be insensitive to the circumstances, though, at the same time, because, of course, that hurts. But at the same time, here we are now having this conversation. If those circumstances didn't happen, who would you be today? Who knows? But who would you be, you know? Where would you be? How would you be as a person? Did you develop empathy more? Did you not, right? There's a lot of beautiful things that come with accepting what is happening. If you didn't want to accept it, Elisa, you could have been depressed, and you could choose to be that and be maybe rude to people or whatever, you know, however people deal with pain. But it's that fundamental value. It's that fundamental value of understanding that everything we're seeing in front of us right now is for our evolution, and that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, that's wise words to end off on right there. I really like that. Now, before we take callers, Damon, can you give people information on how to connect with you?
Yeah, I'm going to be you can go to my website. It's newfocusenergy.com, and the new is spelled N and the letter U. Now, that's going to be changing in the next few weeks to my name, Jamin Olivencia. So either way, you hit both of those links, you can find me. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter as well, at Jamin Olivencia. That's Jamin, my last name, Oliv is in Victor, Encia. Shoot me a line, check me out, and I'm always happy to meet new people. And if people need an assistance of some sorts to kind of put a fire in their ass, then I'm the guy to put the rocket in it. So there you go.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Jamin. You're just so wonderful. You really are a light in the world, and you have really helped our listeners with this program. I really appreciate it. But I hope you stay on the line. Kim, before we take callers also, I would like you to tell the folks about the new event coming up in Houston, or whatever else you'd like to share.
Sure. Well, guys, you know, hopefully you've seen it on the blog and on my website, too, that we were planning to do a Channeling Erik event in Austin and had a change of heart and thought it made complete sense to do it in Erik's home, Erik's hometown, where he grew up, where all of this took place, because you guys know him as a friend. You guys feel that connection with him. And so what better way to really just ground out this whole tour, this whole event, than to bring you guys into Erik's personal space. I know a lot of you guys have voiced feeling like you know him, even though you've never met him. And even a lot of you guys have said, you know, you want to sort of pay your respects back to him because of how much he's helped so many of you, just by coming to his memorial site, coming to his home and seeing his place where everything happened for him. And so we're going to have the Channeling Erik event in January in Houston. You guys will have the chance to visit Erik's home where he grew up. You'll be able to visit his, I think we're going to go as a group, too, to visit his gravesite. So it's going to be really emotional, very powerful, and impactful for you guys. And, Elisa, we have you to thank for that, for opening your heart graciously and inviting us into your space like that. It takes a lot of courage, and I know that so many people are grateful already for that. So thank you.
Aww.
That'll be in January,
as long
you
as
guys.
Everybody cleans up after themselves. That's all I care about. I'm kidding. No,
That'll be in January. So if you guys have any questions, if you want to see the itinerary, we're still going to do the workshops that we do, like Erik does. Each workshop we do, I ask him to tune into you guys, your collective consciousness, and address what he thinks you guys need to hear. So at each one of these events, we talk about something different, and it's really cool. Even the night before, he'll say, wait, change it up. I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. So he really makes it a point to tune into you guys and address what he thinks you guys need to hear. So it's pretty interesting. It's a lot of fun. It's powerful, and long-lasting relationships are born out of these events. So I hope you guys will join us.
Absolutely. And you can find out more about it on www.kimbabcock.net. KIMBABCOCK.net, right?
That's right. And I'll go ahead and give us a quick minute for station identification. Thank you so much at liveparanormal.com for having us. It's always such a pleasure to do this show and bring Erik to you guys. And with that, why don't we do that? I'm sure the callers are just ready as can be, hanging out on the line for half an hour now. So I'm ready to take callers. Erik's chomping at the bit. So why don't we do it?
I bet he is. All right, so I'm going to ask everybody to just limit themselves to one question per caller so we can get as many people on as possible. So now I'm talking to the 832 area code. Hi, how are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Hi, oh my God, I can't believe I got in on my first try.
What question do you have for Erik?
Well, first I'm going to start by saying thank you guys so much for the platform that you are providing for so many people. I literally just started YouTubing you guys like the last 2 days, and I almost feel like Erik was kind of pulling me in, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so eye-opening for me.
He probably was nagging you. I'm sure he was nagging you.
He was, and last night, like, some weird things were happening, and I was like, okay, Erik, I think you're trying to tell me something, or my higher self, or I'm starting to really trust myself and listen to myself more. So I have a question, and I had two questions, but I know you said to try to limit it to one. So I know one of your favorite questions is, what is my purpose? What am I here for? What's going on with me? What am I supposed to do? Yeah.
Go for it, Erik.
He's like, he put on the teacher outfit. He looks like a teacher with a ruler and everything in his hand, and he's like, this is the question that so many people ask. He says, I want to give you the bigger picture concept for all of you guys listening so that you understand where I'm coming from, and then he'll get a little more specific with you. He says, your purpose is everything that you've experienced up until now. He says, don't be confused by the ego and thinking that your purpose is, I don't know why he's using these examples, but he says, don't get confused by the ego to think that your actual purpose is to be a makeup artist or a dance teacher or things like that. He says, your purpose and your the essence of your purpose is your life. The fact that you are breathing, that you are alive, and you have breath in your lungs is your purpose. You are being, and the essence of your beingness is your purpose. So now what you experience is just the avenues in which you contribute to your own evolution, kind of like what Jamin was talking about earlier. So to bring it down to a personal level, he says, what you're here to learn and experience and the avenues in which you chose to grow in this life, he's actually making me feel like you've been through a lot of negativity and you're choosing to grow from that. Like it's about choosing to react and respond positively. So Erik, he's never really one to say, I mean, sometimes he will, but not very often will he say, you should paint, you should write, you should be a photographer. He would rather teach you more on the soul level about you than the surface level. So what he's saying to you is it's about observing yourself in these moments when you're criticized, when people are cruel to you, and you have that, we all have that tendency or that want to retaliate, but instead it's about asserting yourself and why you feel a certain way and learning from that. He says, in essence, trusting yourself, what you're feeling, what you're going through, and being able to grow from that, like choosing to grow from that, though, in a positive way. So he makes
that takes
like
courage. That takes a lot of courage.
It does. He makes me feel like you've been through a lot of negative events in the past and possibly even like your childhood, because it takes it far back in the past. And choosing to grow from wherever there's lack, like he's talking about lack, so wherever you feel like there's absence, I don't know if it's like lack of compassion from somebody in your life, but choosing to grow from the area in which you feel there's absence or lacking. So it's more about this life, this purpose is more about you choosing to react positively, look at the silver lining, and grow from it.
Gotcha.
That's
beautiful. That makes a lot of sense.
Good.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Erik, Elisa, Kim, Jamie. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for calling.
He says you only have yourself to thank, sweetheart. He says because you brought yourself here. You allowed it all. So he says thank yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for taking my call. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
You bet. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that's a courageous path to take. To take negative, even though you suffer from it, and then make a positive out of it. Not easy to do, or react positively. Yeah. All right, well, here's somebody from the 612 area code. Hi there, how are you doing? What's your name, and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Benita from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I just want to say thank you guys all for everything you do, and thank you, Erik. Erik knows best which way to go with this situation, but the question is basically about my son's schooling, and I want to know, like, is this the best place for him? Is he going to be emotionally and physically safe? What can I do, and what can he do to help himself? Because there's been some pretty dramatic instances, and I just want to make sure I'm doing what's best for him.
This is what, Erik is talking about your son introverting, but not because he's afraid and he needs to withdraw, because he knows that that's his safe place, like that's his sacred place. So Erik is telling you to understand he's not introverting or withdrawing because he's afraid, but more so because he knows what feels right, he knows what feels good, and he's not afraid to go there, meaning like inward dwelling. So first of all, he says, just to remind you, to tell you, like, don't be afraid if he's introverted, if he doesn't talk much about certain things, because he's staying in tune with his inner sacred space that's quiet, that is safe to him. So let him be there sometimes, Erik says. But in that, too, I feel like Erik says to tell you to trust him. I have no idea how old he is, but Erik's saying trust him more when he asks you to make a change or to change things, or even if he tells you to let them stay the same. If you feel like you need to change his schooling and he says, no, we don't need to, trust what he's telling you, because I feel like Erik makes me feel like he's really in tune with what he feels and how that feels right or uncomfortable for him. So trust what he tells you about what he feels and what's best for him. I don't know how old he is, but it seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. He's pretty straight. But it does seem like...
he's 14, if that helps. He is 14.
It's one of those situations where I feel like your son is a little more developed on a soul level, higher consciousness, and in an environment that is not the same, that's not like that. So I feel like he's misunderstood. I feel like this is just all what Erik is misunderstood, probably more mature, and than the rest of his peers, and almost like bullied because of that. But this is what Erik says, he's like me. He's just searching for compassion and a deeper connection with people. And when he can't find that, when there's resistance in that, again, I don't think he resorts to fear, or I don't even think he gets discouraged. It's just a matter of like not feeling like he's fitting in with his environment, like where he is. So I don't know if you've already made the change or if you're going to, but he's definitely talking about changing the environment. And I don't know if he's being homeschooled, but it's an environment basically that allows him to hear his higher self, his highest self.
Well, is he in the right environment now?
What was that, Elisa?
I'm sorry. Is he in the right environment now?
Like the school he's at right now, is that the best environment, or will he be hurt? That's what I'm really concerned about.
This is Erik's response. There's going to be a change. He makes me feel like the environment that he's in right now isn't conducive to who he is.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, again, is like I feel like he's operating on a higher level of awareness, maturity, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, where I don't think people don't understand him. Like these are Erik's words. Like they misuse him, they abuse him, and it's not fair because he's someone who I don't think he's going to fight back or stand up for himself. I feel like he's just someone that's just going to stand there and try to just keep peace and like not make it worse. So even if that means like taking a hit on the chin or something, I feel like he's going to stand there and keep his head down and not say anything. Erik says he just keeps showing me. I don't know if he could go to a smaller school, smaller program, or even homeschooling, but it seems like he needs to get away from the noise. That's what Erik says.
Okay.
But do you have another place in mind?
Well, I have homeschooled him. And actually, I just checked out a bunch of schools, and they're just not a good fit. They're actually probably more overwhelming than where he's at now. Where he's at now is a smaller school, but I think the population, I think there's more problems in the family, and so I don't think there's the stability with the students, and so I think he's different than his surroundings, so he doesn't have. I don't know if it's going to work. He's already been physically hurt. He's emotionally been hurt, and it's like I don't want to make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Erik says, let him guide you. Like, talk to him, ask him what he wants, and let him guide you, because I think he knows.
That's a great idea.
Deep in his heart, what would be best for him, and he, like, get him. First, it's like get him in the space, like almost like get him in the mood, like loosen him up first. Don't approach him when he's having a tough day, but then it's he's going to be able to voice what's best for him. So trust that no matter how old your kids are, people. He says. Trust that they can tell you what's best for them, even though you might think you know what's best. I just feel like he's in a place where he's apprehensive, where he can't evolve because he just does not mesh with his environment. So I think he's really going to...
All right, so trust him and have a talk to him when the time is right, and I hope that helped you.
Okay. It does. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time, and thank you, Erik.
You're welcome. Best wishes to you and your son.
Thank you.
We appreciate you too. Bye. All right. Let's see. Let's go to another caller. We've got one from the 503 area code. Hi there. How are you doing? And what is your first name and where are you calling from? Anybody home? Hello. I'm going to speak. Sorry, got to sneeze. I feel another one coming on, too. All right, we'll try somebody else then. What about the 910 area code? Got one from the 910 area code. Hi there. How are you doing? What's your name?
Miles. I'm doing good.
Miles. Have you been on before?
Yes.
Awesome. Welcome back. I thought so.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize
we just had a big storm down here. Rough one.
Uh-oh.
Matthew.
Oh, wow.
So what question do you have, Miles?
I want to know if my higher self has anything to tell me that I need to know.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. This is really cool. This is what I keep seeing. There's a lot going on at the level of, let's say, your sacral chakra. So it's just a reference point, but what that represents is emotions, your creative self, your confidence, and this is what I see. Like when your higher self addresses this place, this area, it's healing is occurring. So I don't know if it's in the area of confidence, creativity, emotions, compassion too. Your higher self is acknowledging that healing is occurring, has occurred. But here's the thing. Your higher self is telling you to take responsibility for that. Like, give yourself a pat on the back. It's kind of in relation to self-worth. Like, you're worthy of recognizing that you've contributed to your own, betterment, your own healing. So allow.
Kudos to you, Miles.
Yeah, allow that. Allow. It's okay to be proud of yourself and to be able to own that. Do you know what I mean? So it's your higher self is giving encouragement to acknowledge healing on the level of self-worth, that you're worthy of self-appreciation, appreciating yourself for what you've done and what you've brought yourself through. So it kind of goes back to self-worth, but it's through you've accomplished healing because of your thoughts, your actions, healing through emotions, through your compassion and your confidence. So hopefully you're seeing that reflect in your life and what you feel and how you feel about yourself. There's so much that chakra represents, but at that level, even if you were to go and do your own research with the sacral chakra, at that level, your higher self is saying for you to kind of recognize and acknowledge the healing that you've done for yourself, that you've directly contributed to. It's kind of like it's time to own that, take that responsibility, and give yourself kudos, basically. So
okay.
Hopefully,
I hope that helps you, Miles. What do you feel about that?
Oh, well, yeah, I feel good. I'm coming to terms with a lot of things.
Oh, good. It seems like through that, you're contributing to your own healing. So keep going. The more that you can come to terms with anything that you procrastinate or that you avoid, the more you can assert it and come to terms with it, you can heal it, let go of it, move on from it, and evolve.
Yeah, I feel like Miles is a brave soul. He takes the bull,
I think so
bull
too.
by the horn.
It seems like, Miles, you are someone who recognizes when you have to stand alone and you're okay with that. Like, if it means bringing yourself to a better place, it seems like you're like, okay, I know I'm going to have to stand alone in doing this or being this, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to do it, and look where it got you, to a better place.
And I tried meditation.
Good. Remember that meditation is whatever it is that makes you feel like you. If it's going out and doing, target practice, archery, painting, yoga, sitting down and chanting, whatever it is that makes you feel like you.
I can't see Miles doing yoga. I just can't. I don't know.
Oh, no.
I know.
He sounds like
got that deep voice. It sounds like you'd be doing something more like fishing or something. I don't know. But whatever it is that makes you feel like you.
You can do kickboxing with me.
I kept seeing purples and greens and white light.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
That was
it was. Thanks for calling again, Miles.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one. Erik, I love you, dude.
Aw, how sweet.
He loves you too, dude.
He loves you back, he says. Thanks so much for calling, Miles. Thanks for listening to us each week.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I love Miles. All right, we got one from the 210 area code. Is this San Antonio?
Yes.
Hi, how are you doing? What's your name?
My name is Jenny.
How are y'all doing? I appreciate y'all's message earlier.
Hi, Jenny. Welcome.
Sure. Hi. I just had a quick question for you. I just got my degree, and I'm going to start a new career and a new job pretty soon. I just was wondering if my higher self and Erik had any advice for me on my job.
This is interesting. I hope it's okay with you, Jenny. Jamin, are you still with us?
I still am.
Okay, because Erik is actually pointing to you. So when she just got a new degree, going to start a new job, any advice? Erik is actually pointing to you, Jamin. So if you want to give her a couple quick minutes, Erik wants you to take this question. So hope that's okay with you.
Jenny?
Yes.
Hey, do you believe in yourself?
Absolutely.
Do you believe in yourself right now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if you're seeking advice? What advice would you be seeking to go into a new job? Why are you seeking that?
Well, just I know I can do it. That's not that. It's just something I've never done before. So it's brand new, and the career that it is, it takes time to get it down. It's not something that happens in a day. So
perfect. So that's exciting, right?
It is exciting.
Yeah, you're stepping into the unknown. Do you agree that when you step into the unknown, it's the only way you can grow?
Yes, that is true.
I think so too. I can feel your energy, and I think that you have an extremely powerful way when you speak to people on a personal level. You seem like the type of girl, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem like the type of girl that's pretty good when people go to you for advice. Correct or incorrect?
Yes. No, that's
awesome.
true.
I think so too. I can just feel it from you. There's something about you where I feel like I want to talk to you about my problems. So you have this healing capability about you, and what I think what you can do is use that understanding that healing capability that you do have, use that in your relationships with people, and the people that you're going to be working with are going to put you in a position where you're going to do very well. I really believe that, and that's just coming from my heart. Of course, I'll let Erik speak on it if he wishes, but I really believe you got to take that energy that you're presenting right now that you already know. You already know it. It's very common for a human to question something when you're about to go into something new. But that's the imagination running, and we talked about that earlier. And what I just don't want you to do is, because you are powerful, I don't want you to use that power of the imagination of fear to put you in a place where it may sting a little bit in the beginning because you create a confusion. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It makes perfect sense, actually.
And Erik is actually building on that, and I love how he's vibing off of you, Jamin, because when you were saying, do you think you give good advice, he's kind of encouraging you, Jenny, to take your own advice. You know, if someone were to come to you for advice and you would give them advice, he's kind of telling you, take your own advice and do the same, because he makes me feel like he's talking about you when he says that you're a leader, you're someone who can take the initiative when I literally feel like when all else is failing, when shit has totally hit the fan, I feel like you're the person that can step up and change the situation. And Erik is saying he wants you to realize that in yourself, that even when you feel like, for example, there's times when I would do physical therapy and I felt completely out of control. My patient is, God knows some of the things that I've been through with my patients, but still being able to, okay, I'm in this situation right now. What do I have? What am I capable of right here, right now, to change the situation? And that's, he's trying to acknowledge that in you and how you can take the initiative to be responsive to the moment you're in and change it to make it something better. But he says that you're gonna take that and run with that on a higher level. He shows you I don't know how else to say it, like moving up the ladder quickly. Like
Ooh,
I don't know how else to say it, but basically just...
She's going to do good. She's going to do good.
Yeah, ascending, moving up pretty quickly because of that ability to act, to respond, and to take the initiative. So I don't know what kind of workforce you're in, but it feels very intense. I will say that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the help. Absolutely. I appreciate your advice, Jamie and Erik and Lisi and Kim. I'm very grateful for y'all, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey,
be the light. You're awesome.
Thank you. Y'all have a great night. I appreciate it.
You too.
You too, baby. All right, I think we have time for one more quick call, but I will warn that caller to make it brief. And we have one from the 337 area code. I just have to tell you that I don't want to run up against the next show. So do you have a quick question for Erik?
I guess. Well, just when the topic today's show is about laziness. I'm sorry. My name is John Burgoyne, and I'm from Louisiana, really around Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but I'm in Lake Charles right now.
Okay.
I had a quick question about the laziness thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had a quick question about it. I've been just kind of going through a time in my life where I was very motivated, and then something kind of happened with my partner where he was unmotivated, and a year ago, and I fell behind on bills and things, and I can't seem to get myself together again. And I was just wondering if Erik had any advice for me on that, and maybe I can help motivate my life again. I'm in real estate, and so usually I was really motivated. I was working. We were living down around Houma, Louisiana, and the oil field hit, and the economy went bad, and so we moved to Lake Charles.
Yeah.
And so it's just I've kind of lost my mojo, and it gets kind of scary sometimes because sometimes I really get down on myself, and it makes me a little nervous. Like I feel like I have no more purpose, So.
Well, I'm sure Erik and Damon can both help you.
Yeah, there's a lot that he's actually saying to you. He says, with what you do for work, he says you got to be real with yourself and acknowledge that your work is subject to its environment. Like I guess that your work and its success, there is an element of it that is subject to the environment. He says, but also what you experience is more of a projection. It's of your thoughts. So basically, the life you're living, the experience, the movie that you're creating, that you're the main star of, is a direct reflection of your thoughts. So he says the real question here is, how do I stop the negative thought patterns, like the beating yourself up, I'm not motivated, and that sort of thing. He says, in order to actually even experience being motivated and turn your life around, he says, I'm going to put it to you as easy as I can. You have to align with it emotionally and feel it before you can actually do it or manifest it. He says, align emotionally with what you want, what you hope for. Let's say, for example, you land some crazy deal with your work, and I don't know, you sold some $10 million home, and you get half of it. What does that feel like? He says, what do the emotions feel like? What does the reality look like? What time of year? He says, get as specific as you want. I don't care. Don't become attached to it, but align with it emotionally, and that's how you begin to shift your awareness, your consciousness to it. But a lack of motivation, a lack of will, of drive, whatever you want to call it, he says, is living in the illusion of everything else that's not right now. This kind of goes back to what he was saying earlier about the more present you can be with your emotions and what you feel and how you feel about it, the more you bring yourself into a state of consciousness. But if you believe your thoughts, your fears, your doubts, you're then pulling yourself into your own illusions. Like it's false reality, he says. So the real question here is how to stop that thought process. He says, and my answer is even trickier. He's kind of laughing at himself. You don't even need to stop the thought process. You just step outside of it and you just observe it. So observe your thoughts and observe without reacting, without aligning to, because as soon as you say, oh, I'm a failure, and then you align with it emotionally, and you become upset, angry, frustrated, lack of, motivation, whatever, that's when you begin to live in and experience that illusion. And that's why it feels so disgusting, because it's false reality. He says it's not your true you. So,
you know what I feel? I feel before we close, and we have to close right now, but I think that it would be good for you to connect with Jamin. I have a funny feeling, a really strong feeling that he can help you out of this mess.
He can. There's so many times where I've talked to Jamin, and he will. He can change your thought process about things, and like he said, light that fire under your ass. I mean, he's amazing at that. So, Jamin, maybe you guys can.
Jamin.
Connect with me. Hey, connect with me after the show, and I'll be more than happy to kick your ass in a good way. It's all good, man. We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much, and I really, really appreciate that what y'all do, and I love listening to the show, and tell Erik thanks, and y'all have a great night.
Awesome.
You're
welcome.
You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. I feel it really strongly. It's gonna be fine.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Good night.
You're awesome.
Good night. All right. Thank you guys for joining us on our show. I think it was a wonderful one. We had so many great callers, and we were so privileged to have Jamin Olivencia here with us to kick us in the ass. And, look up his website. I will also have a recording of this show up on Spreaker.com and some other places so you can listen to it again and find out his information again. Thank you, and thank you, Kim, and thank you, Erik. I love you so much, sweetie.
You're so welcome. Erik says, he says, I got your back, Mom. I love you.
I know. I love you, too.
Love all you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Jamin. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you, too, Jamin. Bye.